I said, it is the most beautiful baby I've ever seen. And she grew up not too bad, right? That gorgeous girl.
I bet the baby's a pretty little baby, too.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
We are having such a ball. So.
16 months now, right?
16 months.
Oh, my
and it's
gosh.
so nice
Pictures?
because it's...
Yes, Halloween. You brought a Halloween picture, right? Is that correct?
We did. She was a little lion. So it
she is adorable.
It was a lot of fun. So these are the great moments.
So you have to talk to you about Daddy.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The one
transition.
thing, the one thing that, not the one thing, but what we've always said about Donald Trump and about your mother, he really raised terrific children.
Oh, thank you.
And you know that I love your father.
He is the greatest.
But he has his moments. So there was a story about how you and your brothers tried to have an intervention so he would stop bashing on the president. I hear that's not true. You didn't have an intervention.
No, there was really no truth to this report. And what was bothersome to me is that it could have very easily fact-checked, you know, by calling my brothers or myself, but the story went viral, and it was all over the globe, and not one reporter actually called to see if it was true. I mean, I respect the fact that my father's so candid with his thoughts.
Now, do you every once in a while say, Dad, enough already?
Enough with the Bertha comments.
I mean, generally, he's my father. So, you know, I think, you know, every child, you know, thinks that as it pertains to certain things, but not as it relates to this. I mean, there's a huge number of people who not only support his opinions, but really solicit his opinions. And he has an incredible forum to speak his mind. A lot of people don't, particularly on something as polarizing as politics. So, I mean, truthfully, more people should speak up.
Do you give opinions?
I do, when asked, but, you know, at this point in my life, I'm very focused on, you know, my career at the Trump Organization. Politics isn't playing such an important role for me. But, you know, over time. Yeah.
What about more?
Say the least.
Do you guys think about, like, we can expand it? I always say, you know when you're done having kids, but if you're still thinking about 2, 3, 4?
Yeah, I have in my head that we'll have 3 or 4 children. I don't know if we'll actually get there because I learned, as with the first one, you really just don't know until you have one, and I think it's going to be like that with each child. But I hope we have a nice big family.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, your husband, who's a newspaper, he's a newspaper man, Jared Kushner. You guys are both so busy. You are incredible, like you said, you are incredibly focused. He's focused, but one day a week, you both turn off your Blackberries, your iPad, your iPhone. I don't know how I could live without, like, that iPhone and tweeting. I'm addicted. What's it like not having any technology?
It is the most rejuvenating thing that could happen to the two of us. And, you know, my husband's in publishing, also in real estate. He's running around like a lunatic all week. I am as well. Just to have the time to reconnect with each other, to spend uninterrupted time with our baby.
Do you watch television?
It's so meaningful. No.
Nothing.
No. We go on walks. We have really long dinners, which is great because normally during the weeknights we'll be sitting there. If we're eating at home, we'll have a 45-minute dinner, BlackBerry at our hip. So, you know, there's...
How long have you been married?
3 years.
So we were talking earlier about after 2 years when the first blush of the...
Think about this answer, girl.
Did you hear our Hot Topics?
I was not here yet, so I did not hear the Hot Topics.
Well, we'll bring it up.
After 2 years, the sex becomes, you know, meh.
Oh, no, this is terrible. Well, the
And you
good
have
news
to
is
do
my
surprising
husband's
things.
at work and probably not watching yet. We have it TiVo'd.
You're lucky. So, do we have a little more time? Yes, we do. Okay. So we wanted to ask you. Oh.
We don't have time.
We don't have time. I just want to mention that you're a paid spokesperson for an organization called Cookies for Kids Cancer. Yeah?
She's coming back. No, she's staying with us.
I'm sorry, I did not know. This shows Ivanka is staying with us.
All that sex
we have
talks,
plenty of
Barbara.
There was an article that I read where it said that Trump has hired multiple women in his construction company that have really, really high titles, and they're smart women. He likes women with strong voices.
Yeah, but it's really about policy more than anything else. If you're against Planned Parenthood, if you're against a woman's right to choose, if you're against health care for everyone, especially for women, if you're against all the things that women need, then how can you say you're pro-woman just because you hire people in your agency?
But I think what she's doing,
that I don't really get. Yeah. It's like saying, oh, my friends are Jewish, and then you're anti-Semitic anyway. It doesn't quite gel.
You do bring up a good point. You look at his inner circle dating back several decades. He's always surrounded himself with powerful women. He has more female executives than he does men. But I think this is an interesting strategy. Is it the strategy here? His daughter, you think about the biggest hurdles he has to overcome, his reputation among women and his reputation as a hothead. Is this the new strategy to get his powerful daughter out front?
Well, you know that my mother loves Ivanka Trump. This is something I brought up on the show before. She would put me in a foster home to raise Ivanka. She said it before, and it didn't make it any better when Ivanka converted to Judaism. My mother was like, that is it. Get out of the house. Ivanka,
she's kosher. The girl is kosher.
She's kosher. She's very pretty. She has a business of her own. She makes actually gorgeous shoes. I was not paid to say that. Really, and she makes size 11s, ladies, so let's get in there.
And dresses. I have a beautiful dress.
She really has a great stuff, but you know, I think it is smart for him to get kind of her out there and showing her face because she is accomplished, she is intelligent, and she is a very beautifully raised girl. You know what I mean? And it's shocking that he was able to really raise someone so wonderful.
Somebody from Twitter said that he shoots from the mouth about everything and everyone, but I think because he has a daughter, he will support women's rights. You know what? I'm not a very big fan of Trump. I think I've made that point clear. I think he just says stuff to make sure he offends everyone, because when you're offended, then you start looking and then you want to attach to him and see what else he's going to say, see what else he's going to say. What else is he going to say about women? His wife is a woman, his mama was a woman, his daughter was a woman. He has to find something to say.
A lot of chauvinist pigs have mothers for women.
Are Republicans, or I would demand that Michael Steele cut them out.
You're just saying that because they don't agree with you.
No. Look, I mean, when you get every Republican in the House plus 14 and then 9 Democrats voting against this bill, that's where the bipartisanship is, against the creeping. It's not creeping socialism; it's galloping socialism. It's theft. It's immoral. It's shocking, the stimulus bill. I'm not exaggerating. And the only hope is that Republicans will come zooming back in 2 years and it won't go into effect because this is a disaster. And by the way, people who think that just because their taxes aren't going up right now, okay, you know, maybe I won't benefit from the stimulus bill, but I won't be hurt. You will be hurt. You will be hurt.
Let me ask
Everything you've made until now would be worth half as much.
All right. Would you rather that it fail so that the Republicans can be back in power in 2010 rather than try to do something for the American people?
No, it has nothing to do with being back in power.
Answer the question.
No, I've answered.
Would you? Let's say
it has nothing to do with Republicans being in power.
What if it does really great? How do you know? You don't know that.
Because massive socialism has never worked. I mean, Argentina tried. Japan tried it. They have higher IQs than we do. You can't borrow $1 trillion. We don't have $1 trillion. You know what that means, Joy? That means you either are in hock to China, and there is definitely massive inflation because you start printing money. That means any dollar you have today will be worth 50 cents
But
in a few
who are
years.
we indebted to for the Iraq War, for example, where we spent $1 trillion also?
Look,
and Bush and his people brought the deficit up incredibly. So who are we in debt to for that?
Yeah, and the deficit's very bad, and Republicans have been the ones talking about it for years. I think it was Bob Dole who said, let them run on the deficit. We've been running on it for 30 years. Americans don't care. Each president, because of the spending of the government, each president has a bigger deficit than the last one. You know what the entire deficit...
Take a breath.
The entire deficit under George Bush that you're so worried about is $400 billion. This stimulus bill is nearly $1 trillion.
Well, that's not true. First of all, everybody knows, and I'm not a political person exactly, but everybody knows at this point that George Bush got a great surplus when he came into office, and he squandered it. Everyone knows that.
It was a surplus on paper.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now, are you frightened or gleeful that Rush Limbaugh seems to be the head of your party these days?
Oh, I think it's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, I'd rather have somebody, I mean, I hope, actually, we do have a lot, not that I'd rather have some, but I would like more Republicans running for office who can talk like Rush Limbaugh
You consider Rush Limbaugh a Republican? I consider him an extreme right-winger. I don't consider him a Republican.
An extreme right-winger with 20 million listeners.
Well, you know, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Well,
that he has 20 million listeners? That doesn't mean that 20 million people are agreeing with him, you know. It means that they're listening.
I think
a lot of people are very masochistic, and they'll listen to Rush Limbaugh.
You're saying that his 20 million listeners hate him and disagree with him?
No, not all, but not everybody agrees with him.
If you're describing someone as extreme, I think it can't be someone who is massively popular with the American people. I mean, that's dead down the center.
Okay. All right, let me ask you something else. Now,
do you listen to Rush, by the way?
I used to work with him. I was on the same station.
No. Well, okay. How can you describe it as extreme? We could interview one of the 20 million people who listen to him every day.
But I'm not that into somebody who filibusters like that. I like
You
a
don't listen
conversation.
to him. How do you know he filibusters?
Because I worked with him for 3 years, and I know what he does.
When did you work with him?
In the early 90s, I had a radio show on WABC Radio.
Okay, so from 20 years ago, you have decided you